Hello and welcome to another DGCAD Revit Building 8.1 A to Z families lesson here, part 5. We're talking about quick lesson on family shared parameters and how they work. And what shared, so far we've learned all about parameters, and shared parameters are simply an external file where we define parameters that we can then import to various project files and or families. When you go into a family, you can select we've been creating parameters, but they've always been local parameters. They haven't been shared. If you go shared, you go to an external file, and then you can pull a parameter that's been predetermined in this external file. And when you bring it in, you can either decide when you bring it in whether you want it to be an instance or a type. So with the shared parameter in the shared parameter file, you don't define whether it's a type or an instance. You do that when you create it in the family. So to start off with, what you do is you go File, and then you set here shared parameters down inside of here. And then you create a shared parameters txt file, and then you create groups, and then you create the actual parameters. And once you define that file, then you can go then and use them in your different families. So a nice way to either control title block information or any sort of general information that you know you're going to want to repeat that parameter on several projects. That's when you decide to make it a project or a shared parameter, which is quite often a lot of the case. Okay, so let's just have a look at our Revit inside of here. We're just back at our electrical drawing inside of here. I'm going to go up to the top. It doesn't matter where you do this from. I'm in File, preferably in a project file. I'm going to go and hit Shared Parameters. Shared parameters, I've just done some testing here, and I've already defined a shared parameter file, and I can't seem to delete it from remembering or trying to find that file. Regardless, I'm going to assume that there's really nothing there and I don't have a shared parameter file, and I'm just going to say create, and I'm going to go in here and I'm going to create a new file, and there's already one in there, and I can just put a 2 on this, and it's going to create a txt file. It's going to place it in that location, and I'm just going to save it, and I'm not going to manually edit that. So that now, if I scroll over, is my new shared parameter file, and that will be able to be viewed from all of the Revit projects and all of the Revit family. So inside of here, I'm just going to make some groups. I'm going to, call something electrical info, and that's just a group. It's just an association. I'm going to make another group, and then I might call this one, title block info. However you want, you'll find the logic, and then we have these different groups inside of here. And then inside of title block, I can say, well, I'm going to create a new parameter, and the parameter is going to be called, company name. And it's common information, and it's going to be text in this case, and I can hit OK. Then, for instance, I can go to maybe electrical info, and I can add a new parameter, and it's going to be called, fixture height. And common, and that's going to be a length. Notice I'm not saying whether these parameters are types or instance. So I can hit OK, and that's now done. Okay. Now I can go, it doesn't matter, I can go to this particular fixture, and just like I've been doing, and hit Edit Family, go in and edit that family. Okay. And now if I go inside of here, maybe I will go to my elevational view on the let's say the placement side. Okay, and there's a parameter here that says placement height. Well, I'm going to go into my family types in this family, and then inside of here I can see, okay, I've got different parameters. Well, I'm going to add a new parameter, and instead of using just this local family parameter and specifying like we've done in here, I'm going to go shared parameter, and then I'm going to go select, and it's going to be smart enough to know I've already defined that shared parameter file, and it goes straight to it, and then I can look at the different groups and the different parameter information that I might have created in that global shared parameter file. And I can hit edit, and I can go in and I can actually edit that back in that file. Okay, but in this case I'm going to hit OK. Now I'm bringing that in, and it's putting this in. Notice it's grayed out. Whenever you see that this type of information, it's because it is a shared parameter, okay, or chances are. And now inside of here I can say, okay, well, it's a dimensional thing, and is it an instance or a type? Well, I'm going to say it's an instance in this case using that shared parameter and hit OK. And now I have that inside of there, and I have, look, I have fixture height, which is this new parameter inside of here. And then I can set this to be, 5 feet, and then hit apply and then hit OK. And now I can actually take this object and change its label to say fixture height. And now, oh, that's okay, I'm having to remove the constraints of that other one, which is fine, because now it's stretching this up to be too high. I've done a little bit, haven't. So the main thing is I have defined the shared parameter file by going in. I could do it here, File, Shared Parameters. This is where the shared parameters are coming from. Inside of here, I add my parameters and the group them together inside of here. And once I've defined this, this is then viewable from all of my Revit files. Doesn't matter even if I'm in a regular project file. Okay, I can still get that information. And then you can perhaps create a new one. You could go in and go File and Shared Parameters, and you could create another one. Put a different name in there, and then maybe you would browse and map to that instead. Maybe I'll pick this parameter file. It doesn't have any groups in there. Browse here and pick this external parameter file, and it comes with these groups. I can go in and create another one inside of here, or I can go browse to wherever I want. Okay, so I can have different shared parameter files available to me, and then I have all that information stored in one source location. Okay, if I actually go to that particular folder and I have a look at that in my Revit families, and I do a sort here by modified, I'm going to see a file in there. There it is, DGCAD shared parameter file 2. If I double click it, it looks like this. It's just a text file, and you can see it says this is a Revit shared parameter file. Do not edit it manually, and it's got some information inside of there. Okay, so that is our actual shared parameter file, and the key is to define it through here, and then go in, create your groups, create your parameters, and then you, within the family itself, you go into here and then you add that parameter and you say shared parameter and you select, and it's automatically going to go to whatever file you've specified as your shared file. Okay, and then you can hit OK, and then you can bring it in, and then you can do what you want with it. So very powerful here, shared parameters. And thank you for watching another Building Revit 8.1 A to Z training video from DGCAD on our shared parameters and shared parameter files.